We're live.
We're live. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. So amazing.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Great.
Very
Doing
good.
so well. So well. So I'm insanely excited today. Welcome to episode 2 of Brand Experience Live, where we explore the brands and individuals that are delivering unrivaled brand experiences for their candidates, employees, prospects, buyers, community, and investors. We're here to explore what they attribute to their brand experience success, how you too can implement their successes into your individual or business ventures. And my name is Ashley Pineda, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Lagel Moik.
Thank you, Ashley, for this kind intro. And today we are excited to speak with Don Barnett. He's a director of sales, LondonHouse Chicago, and sales and marketing, actually. LondonHouse in Chicago. And if you don't know about LondonHouse Chicago, it's a boutique hotel in downtown Chicago. And best known for their praiseworthy guest experience. And definitely they have awards and accolades to prove it. So welcome, Don.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be with you, ladies, this fine day. So thank you so much for inviting me to do this. I really appreciate it.
Yes, we're so happy. And I mean, just jumping right in, I mean, Lagla and I already know so much about you. And the more that we get to know you, the more we just love everything about you, your mindset in terms of giving great brand experiences, how to attribute storytelling to your success as well in terms of social media and team engagement. But we'd love to know more about, your background a little bit, how long you've been with LondonHouse, and what your role and overall responsibilities are there. Just like 1,000-foot view of that.
Yeah, I'll give you the 60-second version of my illustrious hotel career up until today. So I started in the I went to art school, hence hotel sales. Makes perfect sense, right? But I started my illustrious hotel career back in 1995 when I was 4 years old. So started back in 95. I've been in sales and marketing pretty much my entire hotel career. So from 95 to 2006, I was in hospitality. From 2006 to 2013, I was part owner of a limestone fabrication company. So complete career 180 there. And then long story short, after moving on from being part owner of that business, I got back into hospitality and eventually found myself with the opportunity to be director of sales and marketing at LondonHouse, where I've been for 5 years now. And it's the best job I've ever had.
Amazing. You're smiling, that's the best part of it,
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's not normal. I feel like for a lot of people to say they really love their job. And what do you think really attributes to you feeling that way about going to work every day and really loving and enjoying what you do?
It's the culture that we have at our hotel, without a doubt. There's a lot of things that we have going on here that are the best I've ever experienced in my career. It's the best culture. It's the best hotel I've ever worked with or at. But more importantly, the team that I work with, we're a well-oiled machine. And it's the best boss I've ever worked with as well. So as I've gotten older, you get a little wiser about, it's not so much about the money. It's about your day-to-day experience, and your boss can make or break, your job. So that's really important. And, coworkers that are, upbeat and friendly and consistent, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I know that, we all talked pre-live in terms of what you really think makes the hotel successful, because, we've seen that if anyone goes on the hotel website, there is a very long list of accolades and awards that you all have received in multiple areas too. Not just one. It's pretty, even keel across the board. What are you most well known for at the hotel in terms of why people choose to come to London House Chicago?
It's our service. Without a doubt, it's our service. I think we're probably going down this route anyway, but I think what's really led to our success, or what I'd say our special sauce is twofold. One is we take our hiring process very seriously, and it starts at the top. Our general manager believes in hiring high performers and cultural ambassadors. So he's, put people in positions of leadership that also have the same mindset. And then we go out and find other high performers and cultural ambassadors. The other part of the piece of the puzzle that I think has really led to our success is this is the only hotel I've ever worked at that every year, the beginning of the year, we come up with goals. And they're goals that are that any employee can contribute to. So, for example, our quality assurance scores, or our Hilton SALT scores, which are like customer service scores, or being number one on Instagram, or being in the top 10 on TripAdvisor. Like, these are some of the past goals we've had, or continuing goals we've had. And it's something we talk about consistently, and we bring it up in meetings, and we have great buy-in from the team. And, we can talk to anybody, from the front desk to housekeeping, and say, hey, tell me one of our goals, and, how are we doing with it? And people are up to date on it. And it really creates an esprit de corps that I've never experienced before.
This doesn't happen by accident. Your entire team being in the know about what their part is, how they play into the success of the brand and the guest experience. It doesn't happen by accident at all. How have you all made this happen consistently and keep consistency from your candidate experience, your employee experience, all the way to what Lagla, I know, is excited to talk about, which is your guest experience, your buyer experience. What measures have you put in place to ensure that everyone is on it all the time?
I hate to compare other hotels, but I will say that a lot of hotels put together a budget plan, a marketing plan, and things like that. And after they're presented to ownership or investors or management, it usually collects dust for the next year until you have to do it all over again. Where, we have a big managers meeting near the beginning of the year where we roll out what these goals are. We make it fun, and then again, it's just something we keep bringing up. And then the other important part of it is holding people accountable as well. So, if something is slipping somewhere, meeting with people to see what can we do to support you, to make sure you have the tools so we can reach our goals. And it's just doing that on a consistent basis.
Sounds
Agreed.
sounds like very happy employees, all at London House Hotel. So do you have anyone who's unhappy there?
Nobody's perfect, but like I said, this is the best job I've ever had. And it's because we have so many people. I think what separates a good company or hotel from a great company or hotel is employees that give discretionary effort. It's just people who care. And we have so many people who care. So, and it's reflected in, being the number one ranked hotel on TripAdvisor out of 216 hotels in the city.
Wow. 216 in Chicago. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, Chicago is very competitive when it comes to hospitality and obviously hotel market. So that's amazing. Well done, guys,
Thank you.
Wow. That's incredible.
So obviously, do you also believe that what happened last 2 years, that the management and leadership started to look more inwards in terms of like building this, as I said, more stronger bond with, like Ashley said, with employees, and obviously this trust, because that was difficult time and you wanted to make sure that the people who stayed with you were obviously well looked after and taken care of. Has anything changed from leadership side on that?
We recognize, first of all, the hospitality industry was hit as hard as anybody during the pandemic. When it first started, we started to see a number of cancellations and a lot of hotels were closing. Fortunately, we were able to stay open during the entire pandemic. But I'd say the biggest thing that we recognize is you've got to have flexibility. A lot of people were home or there were a lot of people working remote as well. So whether it's our colleagues or our customers, a lot of people got accustomed to working remote. So we have to adapt to, how do we appeal to those people that are either looking for a job that has a remote component, or customers that now have, they're not in the office every day, if at all. So how do we, appeal to those business travelers and, get them to travel again and let them know that it's safe to do so. So
that's perfect. So obviously, Ashley knows already I'm big at when it comes to customer journey and obviously looking after clients, and especially in this hospitality market, So first of all, what kind of experience do you want to offer your clients, when they come and stay at LondonHouse Hotel? What is like number one thing, they want to experience?
So, we're a luxury lifestyle hotel. We're almost a destination in and of itself. We're located right on the corner of Michigan and Wacker. We have the Chicago River right outside our front door and the River Walk. We're steps away from the Mag Mile. We're steps away heading south to the cultural end of the mile where the museums and everything are. And we compete with the luxury hotels. We're extremely focused on customer service. These are some of the types of things that the experiences that we're trying to create for our guests. We also have one of the most amazing rooftops in the entire city with a fantastic view. So last year it was ranked number 2 in the country.
Wow.
As far as rooftops go.
Oh, that's
amazing. I actually, I've been stalking y'all's LinkedIn a little bit, and talk about an incredible your Instagram. My apologies. Talk about an incredible Instagram experience as far as like feeling what everyone else is experiencing in person. And that rooftop, those are probably my favorite pictures that I've seen, is the rooftop pictures. It's gorgeous.
And food and also cocktails. Come on in, girl.
Yes.
It looks so inviting, I can't wait for my next trip to Chicago, obviously.
Absolutely incredible. And I saw that recently you guys had John Bon Jovi there. What is all of that about?
So, what a great story. So we partner with Hampton Water Rosé. And our director of food and beverage, Homero, has a great relationship with all of our vendors, and including Hampton Water. So it was just a random day. He got a phone call from their marketing rep saying, "Hey, I'm with John Bon Jovi right now, and we want to come over to your rooftop in the next 10 minutes." It's like, great. And we didn't know what for. So he came, and talk about what a gracious human being he is. When he got here, he said, "Hey, do you have somebody that can come take photos and video so we can, I'll sign a couple bottles and you guys can post it on your social media. Let's do that." So Homero called me and he's like, "Hey, grab your phone and get up here in 10 minutes or get up here right now." So I went up there and, got to meet Bon Jovi, and we got some great pictures and video, and him and his son both were just the nicest guys ever. Yeah, just the nicest guys.
Well, so amazing,
Yeah, so it's such a, being in such a premier location and having the reputation we do, affords us some really cool experiences like that, where somebody like that shows up and we get to have an experience like that. So that was great.
Well,
That's so
for me, it
cool.
sounds like obviously, again, I have to go back to this past 2 years, what happened, but obviously we all had challenges, especially hospitality area. So, what changes in terms of like if you couldn't meet your customers physically at the premises, at the hotel? What changes did you make? What kind of experience did you create through digital
Mm.
channels? What was your kind of straight away you got together as a leadership saying we need to make some changes quickly? Want to still make sure that our customers can experience that feeling. We're talking about that feeling, being part of that London House hotel?
Yeah, from a digital channel aspect, like I said, a lot of hotels were closing. Of course, we're slashing, our expenses everywhere we can just to try to stay open. But the two areas where we kept it going no matter what was our SEO and our social media. Because we have such a huge following, it was important to us to make sure we kept that lifeline, to our audience so they could know what was going on at the hotel, let them know that we're still open, let them know that we're there for them, and the ways we can support them during that time, which then leads into, the guest experience during the pandemic, where through Hilton, we were offering a digital key. So you could bypass the front desk altogether if you didn't want to have, human to human interaction. So you can go online, book your room, get a digital key with the app, and check into your room. We were, partnering with local restaurants as far as food delivery and things like that. And then there was the cleanliness standards, going in and making sure everything was disinfected after each stay. I remember we had one of those fog machines, and it's funny. You think about the beginning of the pandemic when we were all wearing like hazmat suits and things like that, and now it's like, okay, we can.
My gosh.
Thank God we can start to, live more functionally. So, and thankfully, I'll have to say everything is very much back to normal. I'd say from a hotel perspective. I think, with the number of people that are vaccinated and, herd immunity, and the virus isn't as deadly as it was. People are getting back to their norms, and traveling again, which is great. The demand has been tremendous.
Did you all make any adjustments in your target market as far as staying afloat during the last couple of years? Because I know that, like for me, my previous job that I was working at, I was responsible for suddenly last minute creating these road shows where we were going around the country to get to our clients because they couldn't come to us for our annual shows that we did. And it was really hard finding hotels that were open that could accommodate us trying to accommodate our clients, because so many of them had closed for renovations, or they had laid off their entire team, or they decided to only have a very, very small portion of their hotel open, where everything else like events or meetings and food, all of that was closed. How did you all make the decision to get through that? And was it easy? And who was involved? And how did this follow through on your brand strategy so that you could remain top of mind where you needed to be?
Yeah, I remember very distinctly. It was, I believe, January, and our leadership team here at the hotel, as well as a few people from our corporate office, we were talking about past results and the future. And at that time, there were rumblings about COVID in China, and it seemed to be spreading. And we started talking about it then, and we kind of laid out some scenarios as far as what if this happens? What if this happens? And this became a continual conversation for, I'd say, a solid month, where we started talking about scenarios, with, of course, there being a worst case scenario where it became a global pandemic, which it did. So, unfortunately, the worst case scenario came to fruition. But something we determined from the very beginning was that no matter what, we were going to stay open. We were going to be the last man standing if that's what it took.
Wow.
So when things started to really go south and we saw a lot of cancellations, and then there was like the week of St. Patrick's Day where everyone canceled all at once. We said, okay, we need to look at where are the opportunities going to be during a pandemic. And we immediately thought about the healthcare market. And we were fortunate to find a very large group of traveling nurses that there was a company that was sending them to Chicago, and we were able to host traveling nurses to keep the doors open and keep some of our people employed during that time.
Wow.
And that lasted for a little while. And then our corporate office has tremendous relationships with the city of Chicago, and we ended up working with them to host local nurses and doctors because they were working. I mean, they were working for days on end, and they just needed somewhere to crash. So, we hosted them during that time, which worked out great. And another great PR opportunity we had, and it was just a feel good thing to do, is we do a ton of proposals in our cupola on our rooftop. So we'll do it now that the pandemic is more or less behind us. We'll do 4 or 5 wedding proposals every weekend. So something we did during the pandemic is we offered a free proposal to a local nurse. So we found somebody, and it's something, aside from being there for them from a hospitality aspect, it was so fun to do something proactive to give back to them in the smallest way we could.
I love that.
I know. It's so, how many proposals were happening, during the time then? All the nurses are married now.
It was one of the few things that the public was still doing. You had people doing staycations, things like that. And the proposals were usually just, 2 or 4 people that were doing it outdoors on our rooftop. So it was one of the few things we were able to keep going as well, aside from hosting the nurses and staycations and things like that.
Sounds like you tapped into local community, what has been, I think, challenge for lots of businesses, especially if it involves tourism, because usually we focus outward, like bringing that from different states, people in, or from abroad. Obviously, travel was kind of, cut out. So it's so nice to see that challenge was obviously to actually reconnect with the local community now, because you're there. And also that they have access to your facilities, and use them. So it's not really like something it's only marked for tourists and, people from other states, that's so nice. And Don, what you would say it's at the moment, like the main challenge, for the business, now the pandemic is over, all the new things happening back to normal. What you have implemented, done differently, like what is a new challenge now for you?
I'd say the biggest challenge, not only for us, and we're fortunate because we do have a pretty good employee retention rate and things like that, but the hospitality industry as a whole is really experiencing a labor shortage. And it's part of it is a huge result of it is because of the pandemic. You had people that, our industry got burned really bad, because of it. And I think a lot of people were turned off by going back to it, out of fear, like, what if this happens again? However, hopefully this is a once in a lifetime, type of thing. Last one was in 1918. I wasn't around. So, I think that had a big part of it, but a lot of people moved on to different jobs. In the hotel industry, we see a lot of people shuffling between hotels. And because so many people got out of it, there's less of that. So there's a lot more demand for labor. And I'm hoping, people will come back because it's an amazing career because there's so many opportunities. There's accounting, there's sales, there's human resources, there's, customer service facing things like the front desk or reservations, there's housekeeping, there's engineering where they're fixing things. I mean, there's so many different categories of things that you can get into. And I went to art school and, I don't have a hospitality degree. I went to art school to be a graphic designer, and I'm director of sales and marketing at LondonHouse Chicago. Granted, that's years of experience that got me there, but like, it's such a fantastic opportunity because it's open to anybody. It really is. If you start and work hard and, and focus, the sky's the limit.
If you could market, so there's quite a few industries that are having this problem, this challenge with taking in new talent. And I think that this has a lot to do too with the generational changes that are happening and shifting. And like if you take manufacturing, for example, this is a very old school industry that requires physical labor, hard physical work every day. And I know there's a lot of similarities, I feel like, in the mindset that's needed for that in hospitality as well, because you are on your feet all day. You do have to be go, and in the right mindset in order to provide the best experience possible for what it is that you're focusing on. And I know that there's, in manufacturing, because of this issue up and coming, that they see, okay, we're going to completely run out of labor because the up and coming generations, for example, they see work differently than our parents and our grandparents did, where they had to be in person all the time. Have you all thought about how to combat this, or how to create certain campaigns to provide better candidate experience and educational value to really show them the value that they will get from joining the industry, or partnering with other hotels in terms of industry and solving this potential problem?
Yeah, I think, like I said, educating people to let them know how many different areas there are, how much opportunity for growth there is, whether it's in one department or another. I work with a woman that, started in reservations, then went to accounting, and is now our assistant controller.
Oh, wow.
So, things like what you said early on, it's about storytelling and, telling the story of people like Maria that I work with that, went from this position to that position, and, just painting that picture of all the opportunity there is. The other big thing about hospitality that we try to get through to people is it's unique in that our whole job is to create positive experiences for people.
Yeah.
That's it. So, personally, I draw inspiration from my wife, who was, I make her sound like an alcoholic. She still has a nursing license, but was for 15 years, worked as a nurse in high-risk OBGYN, literally dealing with life and death. And at no point during my job do I have anything that even comes close to that. So, I have no excuse but to be in a good mood all the time and preach Skittles and rainbows and unicorns all the time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And also, I think when I go, depends if it's a business trip, but still I'm excited to go and stay in a hotel, away from my normal environment, and just, experience something new, stay in the nice clean sheets, smell like a hotel. So it's good, So I think it's kind of like,
smell. That's why
I know. I know, I'm like obsessed with hotel smells. So it's all about that experience, and either it's a staycation, or is it like a business trip, or going away with the family or loved one. It's all about that, feeling and experience and wanting to feel special. So sounds like, creating lots of these special moments for your guests and people who stay with you.
So before we wrap, because we have like 1 minute left, to any business or individual that is looking to create a solid, long-term, successful venture, what is one piece of advice that you would give them in terms of longevity for creating powerful brand experiences?
Powerful brand experience. First of all, it shouldn't be a lone venture. It should be something that you collaborate with people. Whether you're a company of 1,000 or you're a solopreneur, it's so important to collaborate with people. I would say that's probably the number one thing is collaborating with others, people that know things that you don't. If you can lose your ego and wrap your head around the things that you don't know and bring those people into your circle. And don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Collaborate, and I think that's probably one of the biggest difference makers.
I love that. Well, we really appreciate you being our first guest.
I know.
Awesome.
on the show. We're just so delighted and thrilled. If you haven't already followed Don on LinkedIn, please go ahead and follow him. We left some comments, links and comments below. And join us next week on Wednesday, August 31st at 12:30 Eastern Time as we welcome Kate with Pop-Up. She's an ex-Shopifyer. She's now the co-founder of Pop-Up, which is an e-commerce site that focuses on creating better experiences for their customers and their customers' customers, but she is on to discuss their employee experience, which if you don't follow Kate on LinkedIn, go check her out and learn more about the incredible community that she's building internally with her team to create great experiences with them.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thank you so much, Don. It's been amazing.
Day.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Bye,
again. I
Chicago.
really appreciate it.
Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.